meditation? Yeah. Start with breath awareness and then come into whatever you want to do tonight, whether it be mantra meditation or visualization. Just a little centering, begin the class. Okay, coming back to here and into class. A moment, resettle. So tonight we're working on physical exercise or talking about physical exercise. So Sharon, what's the best physical exercise to do?
Whatever you do, whatever you're going to keep doing.
Okay. Carl, what's the best exercise to do?
One I delayed to do.
Pardon?
The one I delayed to do.
The one you delayed to do?
No, the one I delayed to do.
Oh, okay.
Meaning is like Sharon says, if you do it regularly, it's good. In my case, it's mostly like I wanted to go for a walk and then I got caught up with some work. So that would have been the best exercise if I did it.
Yeah. Well, you're right. I mean, I'm again quoting Dr. Dean Ornish, the best exercise is the one you enjoy because that's the one you'll do, right? It's not the thing. You start getting out of this mindset of I should do this and to do what's enjoyable. So with that, let's start off with talking about movement. Then I'm going to go in and share that one slideshow I had with you. Yeah, let's start. Yeah, let's start here, right from the sitting position. Get back here so I'm more visible. We even talk with physical, with exercise. Okay, so get yourself in a place where you feel comfortable. And then this, I think, is something we did before. Inhale up.
That's too far.
And forward.
I'll be right there.
Inhale and over again. And back, stretch. Okay, let's just hold this one for a bit. Up and back. And back. Well, yeah, let's actually come over and twist. So lift through the crown of the head, hand on the floor can give a lifting motion. Up. And again, the other side. Once more, this time let's hold it. Each inhale, lift through the crown of the head. Each exhale, let go. And the other side, same thing. And back. Another second. Okay, let's If possible, maybe just come up on the, or actually, let's just stay seated. Stay seated. Class, well, what I want to do is a forward bend. I want to see which one's most accessible to people. Maybe this one is. One leg forward. Exhale, pull it down, come as far as you can. We'll come in and out of it first, and then we'll hold the pose. And once more, hold. And back up. Switch sides. And this time, hold. And back up. Now we'll come in, let's do Cobra coming onto our backs.
Just
Okay. Inhale, come up. Hold the position in the breath. Exhale down, slowly down. Try to come more slowly up and down. In particular, trying to feel different vertebrae in the back. Just inhale, actually pull back in the hands, lift the shoulders first, and then when you can't come any further, then push in, lifting the lower ribs, and slowly down, lift, lower the belly, lower ribs, mid back, shoulders, forehead, onto mat. Try that coming up. Now let's do two more. Hold. And down. And back down. Now come on into whatever is a restful position for you when you are ready. Okay, yeah, coming back up when you are ready. Somebody gonna do some exercise with you?
yeah, she's a
How
good
the cat
yoga
and,
cat.
how the cat and dog get along?
Oh yeah, everybody gets along good.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful.
Yeah, it's a nice house.
So what'd you notice about that little sequence we did? What'd you notice about movement? Hi, Ethel, welcome.
Yeah, that was very frustrating. What I just went through. Just so out of touch with all this technology. And
Oh my goodness.
Hard.
anyway, so you'll have an email, and my son probably has about 10 voicemails. But anyway, I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
You're here, okay. Well, what you missed was we just went through a little sequence where we did a cobra bending back, we bent forward, side to side, and we did some twisting. So, what you notice? What can you notice about the different motions we did? What stands out? Sharon?
Oh, I wasn't raising my hand or anything. I don't know what stands out. Just that they're pleasant to do. They stretch you where you need it.
Carl, what did you notice?
Huh?
Oh, I was just asking Carl what if he had
Oh,
anything to share. Actually, Carl, we can't see you.
Yeah, I know because I'm on the floor.
laying down.
So,
That's okay, but we can hear you.
okay, good.
Anything about
I'm down here on the floor.
Oh.
anything you noticed about the movements we just did? Any,
No, they're familiar to me. So
they're familiar, but in terms of motion,
I prefer generally lateral movements because I am fairly out of shape. So
okay. So you noticed that the lateral was easier than the forward and back, or the
uh, yeah, the forward and back is easier for me. Also, the way I'm built, I have a long back, so it's
oh, okay.
got short legs. Anything with the legs is very difficult, has been all my life.
Ah, okay. So I'm gonna share this slideshow with you. All right. I think okay. So again, HPS 203. I wonder how I can get this over. This meeting is being recorded. Okay, get rid of that. And then you can see how many. Uh, I tend to be like to have a lot of things going at once. That's what all these windows are about. Um, so alignment, and here's some, and you have this in your on the page in the week 3. So these slides are taken from different webinars. This is a book, I like it, a very excellent anatomy book, some of these illustrations. What I really wanted to come to for what we just did was this. There's 3 planes of motion, 6 directions, side to side. Then the twist, it would be moving in that blue plane, side to side in the green, and of course forward and back. So thinking in terms of the body, it moves in these 6 ways, or 3 planes, if you uh, like to think that way. And I have a science background, so
I
this
was
kind of
having
stuff.
trouble getting in class. I made it.
So let me know if I'm going too fast.
Yes, we'll talk later. Thank you.
You could close the tools in the PDF viewers to give us a bigger picture.
PDF viewer.
Left side, there is a huge plethora of menus that are unnecessary. Click the X.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Okay, get those. Yeah, right. Got it. Okay, thank you, Carol. Uh, okay. And okay, so here's the skeleton. We all have a skeleton. In fact, here's my little guy right here. There's a little issue with his elbow because my grandchildren liked to play with him when they were younger. Um, he comes out at Halloween and sits in our window. But this is basically how we're made up. And there's 2 major parts to the skeleton. Does anybody know what they would be?
Oh, I don't.
Okay. Oh, this is all about joints. We'll come back to joints. Um, Axial
Oh,
and uh, appendages. So basically, everything's, this is the nervous system, the head, the spinal cord, and the attached ribs. This is the central control system, if you will. This is our movement. Okay, that's how we're constructed, these 2 basic parts, if you will. Uh, and then they're connected by joints. Okay, everything has to be connected by joints. So think about it. If you were stiff and you didn't have any brakes, you wouldn't be able to move, right? We move because there is spaces between different parts of the body. Okay? Does anybody know the difference between ligaments and tendons? No.
Ligaments hold the muscles to the bone, and tendons. I don't know, something like that.
It's kind of you're on the right track. It's kind of the other way around. Um, Ligaments connect bones. across joints. They help hold the skeleton together. Tendons connect muscle to bones. And muscle, in order to get movement, a muscle has to cross a joint. Think about it. If it were just one bone, nothing would happen. It has to cross a joint to move. Okay. And what connects the muscle to those bones is the tendons, and ligaments then connect across. These are the different kinds of joints we have. Hinge joint, like this, right? Ball and socket. You think of a example of a ball and socket joint? Anybody? Well, it's right here.
Shoulder.
Shoulders and the hips, right? And then, of course, what they call compressive the spine. Okay, this is just about shapes of bones. Length is for leverage. Um, big flat, protective. So, you know, the ilium here, this big flat bone, that helps protect the lower body. And then the thickest bone in your body is actually the heel, right up here in the heel. Why? Because that's where all the weight comes. All the weight comes down. This big, I don't think how well you can see it, this big fat thing here. Okay, so that's just general principles of anatomy. And of course, this shows muscle going across. The only other thing I'd like to say is a muscle can cross one joint or multiple joints. And the hamstrings are a case of that. They go all the way down to the um, lower leg here and cross two joints, the knee joint um, and the hip joint. Okay, we went over appendicular. So think in terms of the skeleton being one axial or central, really about the spinal cord and the brain and the communication system, and then the appendicular about the movement. And we talked about three planes. We demonstrated that. We moved in three directions, didn't we? The thing about, yeah, okay, and that's just what I said. And again, you can read this. I'll go over it a little quickly, but it is in your, um, it is in the week 3, I don't know what you call it, sections. Okay, notice the spine cord, by the way. Uh, the hinge joint, like the elbow, moves in one direction. The ball sockets can go a little bit more flexible. The spine actually moves in all three directions. Let's review that. We can go twist. That's again, remember in the green plane. We can go side to side. And this is movement in the spine. You can go forward, bending forward and back. The other interesting thing about the spine is, well, the movement in between any two vertebrates is limited because they stack up. They end up being a large movement. And you can see that in the spine. If we just twist through the belly, let's do this really slowly. You know, each vertebrae isn't going that much, and you go so far. Then you go through the upper back and finally the neck. And then back. You can see how each section of the spine doesn't move that far, but you go the other direction, same thing, slowly first. Belly, just behind the belly. Then the chest, and finally the neck. Okay, and back. So the key here is small movements add up. Small movements between different vertebrae add up. And by the way, back pain, 70% of adults in the United States will experience back pain at some point in their life, or do experience. I don't want to make it sound inevitable. Here this illustration briefly indicates the different parts of the back. The sacrum here forms the back of the hips. The coccyx is just a little piece here. 5 lumbar, they are behind the belly. 12 thoracic behind the chest. What's the key to the thoracic? Each thoracic vertebrae has ribs attached to it. So you have 12 sets of ribs, one to each thoracic vertebrae. And then the 7 vertebrae here in the neck. Cervical. Cervical. Hang on a second. Put him back. Cervical, neck, 7, 12 thoracic, 5 vertebrae, belly, chest, neck. And then hips. Sacrum being the back of the hips. So that's basically it. Any question or any thought before I go on? If not, should I stop sharing to do this? Yeah, I'm going to stop sharing and get you down on your back. Just lie down on your back. Nice and comfortable. Hey, not a hard class, is it? Just lie on your back. Okay, as you're doing that, put one hand on the belly, one hand on the center of the chest. This bone here in the front is called the sternum. Okay. Just lie here comfortably. Kind of pay attention to your breathing. Particularly using your hands as a monitor, which hand moves? Do they both move? Which hand moves more than the other? And again, try not to think in terms of what it should be and just notice what really is. You know, just awareness, not non-judgmental awareness, not judging. Just how do I move when I breathe? How does it move? Okay, this time take a deep breath in. Big breath as much as you can and breathe all the way out. Collapsing belly and chest as much as you can. And then when you breathe in, breathe it only through the belly. Leave the hand on the chest stable while you push that hand from the belly in and out. And you really push it out. Nobody's looking, so you don't have to worry about how much belly sticks out. Just breathe deeply. Hand right over the navel. Watch it move. Best you can. Keep the hand on the chest flat. And now relax and just breathe normally. Notice if anything changed or didn't change. Once again, take a deep breath in. Breathe all the way out, as much out of air as you can. Belly and chest, just really push everything out. And this time, breathe in only through the chest. Expand those ribs on the in-breath. Exhale. Much as possible, keep the belly flat, collapsed. And just breathe in, expanding the chest, letting it collapse. Okay, relax and breathe normally again. Keeping the hands still where they are. Once again, take a deep breath in. Breathe all the way out. Breathe into the belly, but this time hold the breath. It's a big breath into the belly, keeping the chest collapsed. Hold that breath, still holding the breath. Push that ball from the belly into the chest. Chest back to the belly, as if you're playing with a beach ball. At some point, you'll need to take a breath, and when you do, go ahead and take a breath and then repeat, filling up just the belly, holding it, and then pushing that bubble from the belly into the chest and back. Again, a third time if you haven't already switched. And then release when you're ready. And come back and just notice if anything in your awareness of your breathing has changed. Or if anything you notice about your breathing is different or not. And when you're ready, just come on back up to a seating position. Maybe roll over to one side and then push yourself into a seating position. This, by the way, this exercise comes from a man called Feldenkrais, who's, you know, well known for these kind of exercises. So what was this about? It's about breathing. We have two mechanisms of breathing, the diaphragm. You can pull that diaphragm. Well, you have two cavities here. So, we talked about the lumbar spine, the thoracic spine. They form two cavities, the chest cavity and the belly. And they're separated by a muscle called the diaphragm. The way you breathe is by creating a vacuum. And you create a vacuum by expanding the chest cavity. There's two ways to do that. You pull the diaphragm down, sucks air in. That's when we belly breathe. When we push out the belly, we're pulling the diaphragm down. That's what pushes the belly out because you're pushing down, you're going to push out everything in the belly, the stomach, the intestines. It's a real divide here. The lower part's mostly about digestion and elimination. Digestion happening in the stomach kind of as a prep, and most of the digestion happens in the small intestine and elimination mostly in the large intestine and, of course, the bladder. So this lower half is about elimination. This is about circulation. The heart's here, the lungs are here, bringing lung air in, and, of course, blood flow. So one mechanism breathing was pull that diaphragm down. The other mechanism is there's muscles between the ribs called the intercostals. That's what expands. So the rib cage is pretty flexible. If you look at my model, you notice these clear spots. I think you can see that. Bone, but clear. This is more elastic. These are ligaments, but they move. They allow the chest to expand. Why is that important? You really need both. People talk about belly breathing, and belly breathing is good for relieving tension. But sometimes, if you're doing a pose, or sometimes you're in a place where you can't really push out the belly, you have that other mechanism. And a good full breath is both chest, belly. One of the reasons breath is very important in yoga, and one of the reasons is you can control your breath with your conscious mind. But if you forget about breathing or you fall asleep, the breath doesn't stop. It's controlled by what we call the subconscious mind. It's the thing that controls the body. It's mostly below your awareness. So breath is kind of that in-between spot, isn't it? Between conscious and unconscious minds. So a lot of health actually revolves around the breath and being able to take a nice, deep, full breath. Okay. Any thoughts? Any questions? Any reaction? I guess I'm getting a little more into a lecture this today than discussion. Okay, and I think we talked about, or I think we already went over this. Okay, we talked about appendicular and an axial spine. Okay. Another demonstration. Let's come up to a standing position. John, on pace. See if I can, hopefully you can still see me. I do a lot of adjusting of the camera. Okay, so with your arms, bring the arms up and back. Forward, back. And can you do complete circles? More or less, huh? And back the other way. Now, try that with your legs. So, if you need to support one leg, that's fine. I'm using a wall because my knees are not so great. Forward, back, and side to side. What do you notice? What do you notice about your range of motion? Anybody? Carl, what'd you notice? What do you notice about your range of motion? Arms versus legs.
Well, the book says you should have more motion in the shoulders, and I don't. That's what I noticed.
You don't have more than you do in your legs?
Not really.
What do you think, Sharon?
I
Go
don't have as much as I used to 10 years ago.
Okay, but comparing legs to
Oh,
shoulders.
we're comparing the legs to the arms. It appears that the arms are easier.
Carl, you really didn't find the arms move more than the legs? I mean, I
I'm
go all the
not
way.
saying I'm not saying the book is wrong. I'm saying I am very stiff in my shoulders, and I have some condition of arthritis since many years.
Okay, but can you do this?
Barely.
Can you do anything near that much with your legs?
Yeah, pretty much.
Really? You can bring it up to your head? Okay.
No, but if I count the angle rather than the direction, I
What,
can.
what do you think, Ethel?
Well, I mean, I definitely personally have a better range of motion in my arms than my legs.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that's how we're constructed.
Mm. Okay.
So remember the center is the axial skeleton. The appendicular has to be connected to it. And it's not connected by a single joint, it's connected by a whole structure, if you will. So we call the connected the appendicular by two things called the pelvic girdle and the shoulder girdle. So again, you have what's called a ball and socket joint connecting the leg to the hip here, but you have this whole hip joint. And really the connection to the axial skeleton is right here, the SI joint. I is ilium, S is the sacrum, that lowest part of the spine. But the actual joint that's moving is down here.
Mm.
Here's the shoulders. It includes what is right here. You can feel this, the clavicle, or what we call collarbone, I think is the colloquial term.
Collarbone, yeah.
Yeah, and then notice you have the whole scapula, and it's in the scapula. Is this all connected? There's a joint here, but it's all connected, and then there's this other ball and socket joint. And what do you notice about this compared to this? Maybe that's probably a little clearer on the slides. So let me go back to the slides. Transmits weight of the upper body. So What's happening is the weight comes down through here, the lower body. Shoulder go. Look how shallow that is. I tried to show you that. This is a pretty deep joint here. This is very shallow. Okay. Let's see how shallow that is compared to how deep that is. I think you can see that. There he is. Okay. The reason is this is the weight. This is stability. The lower body is built for stability, built for strength, stability, less mobile than the shoulder joint. The shoulder joint is about mobility. This is about grabbing stuff. This is about getting your food. This is about manipulating tools. So it needs range of motion. So, Ethel, what do you think the consequences are of these two differences? Just guess. What do you see any problems with the shoulder? By the way, this goes not only to that, but this is the depth of the joint, but also to how it's connected. Lots of ligaments through the hip. And here's the connection to the sacrum. This is where the axial spine is connected. Lots of ligaments. Very few in the shoulder. In fact, the shoulder is connected by a set of muscles that are called the rotator cuff. How many people have heard of rotator cuff?
I've heard of it.
Yeah. What do you hear about the rotator cuff?
I've
People heard it a lot.
yeah, torn rotator cuff. I think I've heard. Yeah.
Absolutely. So the consequence is this is about less mobile, and we can get stiff, Carl being an exception maybe. Our mobility is a little more limited here. Here it's about stability and injury. Torn rotator cuffs, particularly certain athletes, pitchers, and so also in terms of yoga, uh, anything that's balancing on your hands, you have to be more careful with. Okay, this is more about stabilizing. Okay, and that's basically both are ball and socket joints. Again, there's a lot of flexibility in that ball and socket. It can move in different directions, not quite as much as the spine, but still we get a lot of movement, but less because it's a trade-off. There's a trade-off between mobility and stability, which I think is probably true almost in life, right? uh, if you have a really stable house and all, you can't move it around. If you live in a trailer, you have more mobility, but you lose something. So, okay. That's, I think, what I wanted to say there. Okay. Let's go into the back acronym. This is coming from Robin Rothenberg. Breath, alignment, core, kinesthetic awareness. Again, breath. Why breath? Any thoughts about why breath is emphasized? Carl, why do you think breath is important? Why is this and she's a therapist, she's a physical therapist as well as a yoga teacher. Why do you think she emphasizes breath?
Well, probably she looks at the breath as a connection to the mind, and thereby psychology, motivation, all these exercise and knowledge of exercise is less valuable unless you really are into it.
Okay. Sharon, anything to add? What do you think? Why breath?
I don't know. That's a interesting question. If you want strength in a certain area of your body, it seems like you breathe and
Mhm.
and you think you're getting breath into that area. I don't know, maybe it doesn't really work that way, but
Okay. Yeah, maybe the visualization of the breath coming in and out. People use
yeah,
that.
and come because there's the power and the healing and the breath
Mm.
and so maybe you need that
No,
to so.
and certain traditions, that's you can breathe into an area you want to strengthen, and it seems to help. Ethel, what do you think? Did you go by Ethel
I
or
think what you can call me Renee or Etheloma, it's Etheloma, but
okay?
it doesn't really matter, whatever. Um, I don't know. I think, and I may have seen this even in some of our reading, that the focus is on breathing is because it's something that we do automatically all the time.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
And
okay.
so it's something that you can always come back to, um, bring your focus back to and stuff. I believe that's what I read, something like that.
Yeah, and that's it. And I think that's kind of what comes back to what Carl was saying. With the breath goes the mind.
Mhm.
Like if you're running and you're really out of breath, it's hard to focus on something. When you breathe deep and slow, you can go, and this is why in meditation they as often emphasizes the breath, to come down, nice controlled breath they call pranayama. The prana is breath, meaning vital energy, and yama is to control. Um, that's the reason, because with the breath goes the mind. So it's about paying attention, really. I mean, awareness, mindfulness, people talk about awareness, but it's really paying attention. And with that, you want to quiet the mind. If the mind is busy all over this place, then it's pretty hard to pay attention. If anybody's been a teacher, you have 88 students in your classroom, it's pretty hard to get their attention. But it's the same thing with us. If we can find that quiet space, use the breath to find the quiet space, then we can focus. And then this is what's said in the slide. This is coming from some workshops of hers that I've taken. I've kind of rephrased it, maybe even taken it off of slides of hers. Again, at least 70% of adults in the United States, and probably similar in most Western countries, are going to suffer from back pain. Largely probably because we sit too much in chairs and don't get enough uh, productive exercise. But also people throw out their back doing things that they are not prepared to do. Okay, so these are some of the alignment issues that can give you back pain. Um, a good posture, the rule of thumb is ear in line with shoulder, in line with hip, in line with ankle. That doesn't mean the back is absolutely straight. If you're looking at this, the back has natural curvatures in it. Actually, my skeleton here doesn't have enough, but spine curves in a little bit on the lumbar, out a little bit, and then back in on the cervical. But so there's natural curves. Here's a sway back. Here is when there's too much curvature in the lumbar. Lower doses. Here's too much forward curve. This is very common because we're what? On the computer too much, on the phone. I have this problem. I definitely have a thoracic kyphosis, it's called. But again, what happens then? You see, there's a leverage effect, and I think that's not what she's showing here. The weight, if you bend forward, the weight of your head in gravity is not supported. If your head is above, if you've got this good alignment, you see all the weight comes straight down onto that thick bone, the callus. Um, I'm blanking on the name. Uh, if I head's forward here, the weight's coming down this way. The neck is trying to, where that arrow is trying to support that. Pain the neck, right? The kyphosis, the lower back here, again, you're no longer aligned. Gravity is no longer pulling you straight down to the strong parts of your body. It's pulling you forward and putting the strain right where that arrow is. Back pain. And same thing kind of here. The arrows talk about this. And this is one of Ms. Rothenberg's specialties. She actually had an NIH grant uh, treating back pain, chronic back pain. And I think she had a pretty good, like 70% um, effective rate, which is really good for back pain. It's a hard thing to treat. Okay. Yeah, and I just talked about gravity. Again, you want gravity down the skeleton. The core muscles, I think, let's see. The only quiz I graded, Sharon, you got that right. What are the core muscles? Oh, it's on here, isn't it? Oh, you're muted, Sharon.
Sorry, the dog was barking. I had to stop. Okay, well, they got the public pelvic floor, transverse abdominis, and multi-feeding. Some hard words.
Piphidae is how I pronounce. Otherwise, your pronunciation is really good.
Okay.
Right. Okay. There they are. The pelvic floor is actually a set of muscles. In the mountain alignment, when I said lift from the pelvic floor, or some people talk about lift from the pubic bone, you can just sort of try that as you're sitting here. Feel that stable. What that is doing is stabilizing the sacrum, the lowest part of the spine, the hips. Deep breath, pull the navel in and up. That's the transverse abdominis. Okay. And then lifting to the crown of the head, a lifting of the spine engages these ladder-like muscles called the multifidi. They're supporting more the thoracic spine. Here's just the anatomy. The point of this here, muscles are layered, and she makes this movement. So here's the back. This is trapezius and latissimus dorsi. And you see, as you go in, you got different layers of muscles. This going deeper and deeper in. The outer muscles are about movement, and they're so-called fast twitch. They move fast. You're able to move. It's about movement. The inner muscles are called slow twitch muscles. They are about, and you activate them again by slow movements, and they are about stabilizing. They're about holding things in place. Let's see if I think the best is the abdominal muscles. So, people talk about the core, they think about these outer guys and, big ripply abdominals that you see on weightlifters and stuff. But they're really about they're functioning in movement. Uh, The obliques, internal and external obliques, they're the ones that allow you to twist. They're the movements. It's this inner one. The transverse abdominis is the most inner layer. 5 layers here, and they're the most, or 4 layers, excuse me. They're the most inner layer. They are the ones right next to the lumbar spine. They're the ones that are stabilizing the spine. And that's what's going to keep your back healthy. Keep your back from keep it stabilized. Okay, and any questions about that? So again, layer, inner muscles, deep, they're stabilizers. External muscles, movers. And you activate the inner ones, like pulling the navel in and up. It's sort of a slower movement. And the whole mountain alignment is around that. I actually gave you a link to a video that she has, a really nice video that maybe if we have time we can go into. Okay. Any thoughts about that? And then these are just more of the same. Notice the large number of tendon here, this large sheet. here. So the muscle part is just part of it. Again, this is all stable, and it goes all the way up to this bone that the ribs connect to, called the sternum, all the way down to the pubic bone. So it's really stabilizing this whole area. Okay, again, pelvic floor. This is just a slide from another person. I think that gave a nicer view of the multifidi, these ladder-like muscles that, there are a series of them, but they go around to the thoracic spine. Remember, the thoracic spine is the part that has ribs attached to it, this upper back, or I guess you'd call it the upper back, the neck. And there's another link to the video. I love this picture. So in Western civilization, and again, I said too much sitting, too much computer. Traditionally, we had this, and look at the amount of weight this woman is carrying on her head. Why? Because the weight's going all the way down to her feet, where it's meant to be. She does not have back pain, and yet she's carrying a heavy load. And traditionally, people carried it on their heads so that the weight would come right down to the feet. We've lost that. Now we carry things out here, right? Putting leverage on the back. And okay, any thoughts? Okay. Let's actually review. Let's stand up again and we can just review the mountain pose. The mountain pose, those of you in the Asheville area, the version I had originally came from Calvary Weber as a teacher in Asheville. Carl, you must know her, and maybe you've seen her as well. Sharon. Okay. Well, I'm not going to get all the way back. Start with your feet. Remember, the mountain is rooted deep in the earth, so imagine setting roots deep in the earth, nice and stable. Try to bring your shins together, lift the kneecaps, and then this lifting of the pelvic floor, kind of pulling the pubic bone in, or as he said, actually a drawstring, pulling it in, cinching it, is what they say in the alignment video. Deep breath in and move. And in the video, they talk about saying shh. As you breathe out, say shh, pulling that navel in and up. Try to feel that. Feel that, what that's doing, the lower back. If we do the mountain has other things in it, like shoulders up and back, upper arms outwards, opening the chest right here in the sternum. Elbows down inward, spreading the fingers. Now, lift collarbone, bring lower ribs in, and lift through the crown of the head. Throat to the back of the neck. But this lifting is getting those multifidi engaged. I don't know if I've done this with you. I like to use the visualization. Like a mountain, you are rooted deep in the earth, peaks above the clouds. But also the mountain is an enduring presence, right? There can be blizzards, snowstorms, sunny, beautiful days, rainstorms, fires, floods, even earthquakes, and yet the mountain still exists. Through thick and thin, it's an enduring presence, as are we. Mentally, we go through things, right? Some days are great, some days are not so good. Some days there's a lot of gravity, but we're still here. This is the resilience we have. Tapping into that. So again, the physical alignment can tap into the mental resilience, strength. Okay, relax and let's come back down and let's see what else. Okay. I think the rest of this then goes into the mountain pose we just talked about. Kinesthetic awareness was the last one. What is proprioceptive awareness? Anybody? Basically, proprioceptive awareness is awareness of where your body is in space. Actually, I've noticed last year that I'll knock things with my hand that I didn't intend to. So with age, we tend to lose that. And then, of course, I have to do a little more work to get it back. Awareness of where you are in space. Some a lot of yoga is good for this. Gymnasts and many other types of athletes have exquisite proprioception. They know where their body is in space. Know themselves through practice. You can read I'm not gonna read out what you can read out. I mean, hopefully you'll go through this on your own. In the Yoga Sutras, this goes back to Patanjali, increasing knowledge is the path to relieving sufferings. As we do yoga poses, and I did give you yoga poses, some basic yoga poses um, in the content, what do we call it? Part of the class. It's actually a separate folder outside of the different classes. Sthira Asanam, that's maybe about the only Sanskrit I'll tell you other than the Bhavanam Kevalam mantra. Sukham is pleasure or comfort, and sthira is awareness. So a position held with knowledge and awareness. So when you're just doing, and I would say you can go beyond just traditional yoga poses. As you're doing exercise, try to keep the mind engaged. I see some people with headphones jogging on, uh, and that's okay. Listening to music or listening to whatever they're listening to while on a treadmill or weight machine. But what if they just paid a little bit more attention to the body? I mean, maybe they're listening to this kind of music that allows them to tune out noise in the background. I don't know. Comfort and awareness. Okay. So again, the mind-body connection, engaging the mind. And I think this is the end of this slide. And I think I'm going to stop sharing there. Or maybe let's look at, okay, share. You don't need to see the Zoom screen. Okay. Oh, we don't need all these comments either. What we need then is here, classwork. That's what I'm looking for. So again, here's the folder with some yoga poses. Here's the folder of meditations, and I want to do one what's called a body scan with you next, and I'll upload again. I've uploaded, and I think some of you have already listened to. So these are resources for the meditations we've done the last 2 weeks. There's both text and audio versions of them. Just go to all. Let's look at week 3. Okay. What is the FITT acronym? Anybody? What's it stand for?
Frequency, intensity, time, and last one's a hard one.
3 out of 4.
It's on the tip of my tongue.
Anybody?
Type.
Type, yeah. Type of exercise. Frequency means what?
How many times a week you're going to do it?
Right, right. I think part of your written assignment is to decide. Hopefully you can do some both aerobic exercises. Aerobic means getting your heart pumping and breathing, and strengthening. And strengthening, a lot of yoga poses can be strengthening. Strengthening can be as simple as you don't necessarily have to have weights. You can take household items. Uh, and then again, the best exercise is what you like. Walking, it's good. Uh, somebody, I just was reading is I was reading something about tips from a man who's 101, who's a nutritionist, but also advocate of exercise. He likes to garden. That counts. Again, the best exercise is,
What you do?
yeah, what you enjoy, because that's what you'll do. So try to find something in both these. And okay, handout from Dean Ornish. Yes. Let me
How
start.
important is it to get your heart rate up real high? Because I go on long bike rides, as you know, and my heart rate just doesn't get that high. It gets like maybe 96, 97. I mean,
My
I'm not,
understanding is it doesn't have to be super intense.
it doesn't
That's
have to.
that's enough. As long as you get your muscles movement and the heart's raising some. No, you don't have to. You don't have to be again vigorous. In fact, again, I think it was on one of the handouts. One of the biggest obstacles to people exercising is the thought that exercise has to be strenuous. Anything you do is better than nothing. Okay. Statistics show only 20% of the US population gets sufficient exercise. I think something like 60 and 45% get an inadequate amount of exercise, and about 25% get none at all. Anything you do, get going. And this, I think this might have been, I think it was part of the quiz, wasn't it? The slow flow, the idea of slow flow, member, to move slowly, is it's oftentimes for people who don't like to exercise, it's an entryway. Anything you do is better than nothing. So you start simple and build. Okay, I think that's the concept. Any other questions about that? So the FIT acronym, of course, they recommend 3 days a week for I don't know, different recommendations and how long for aerobic and strengthening a couple days, 2 days a week. And I think people like Dean Ornish recommend 3 to 5 um, days a week. Uh, but he wants to get in, what is it? 3 hours. He likes to see 3 hours a week. I don't know if a lot of people can do that. But again, whatever you do is better than nothing. I think that's the important thing. Moving, getting people to move. In our culture, in the United States, and to some extent, this is true of a lot of European countries as well. We just don't move much. And in traditional societies, uh, they just naturally got exercise. The woman carrying the bananas is part of her daily life, okay? To walk. Um, we don't have that so much anymore. A lot of our work is sitting at computers and using our minds, but not exercising our bodies. Plus the fact, if it gets you out in fresh air or something, that in a sense is beneficial as well. Any other thoughts or comments on this? So again, here's what's in this folder. This basically is just going to, this link will just say what I said. These two, I went over this handout. This is a nice little video, but in the handout is much the text of it. But it's a 3-minute video. It's a fun thing to listen to. Let's see. So this is from a book by Dr. Dean Ornish. Let's see if I can find that and then bring it up. One thing, Spectrum Chapter 8. Here it is. Yes, here. Okay. Oh, am I sharing? Oh, you saw that, huh? Okay. Yeah, I was sharing. I'm sorry. Okay. So We already talked about the first one. So here he, at the end of his chapter, in the end of chapter 8, he lists 9 principles for sustainable exercise. Okay. First one we already talked about. Choose something you enjoy because you will do it. Be consistent. So again, that fit algorithm and your assignment is put a little schedule for yourself. Be consistent, be flexible. Oh wait, two, we probably got two. Listen to your body. Uh, Focus on the difference between pain and soreness. Okay, if you see sharp pain, this is important. Anything you're doing, sharp pain, stop. Okay. But on the other hand, you need to push yourself. So you have to have that difference between what am I pushing myself in a way that's going to make me stronger because I'm out of shape, and when is this a warning pain? Okay. Your body doesn't give you pain to torture you. Your body is trying to communicate something for safety. Please remember that. Please be respectful and work with your body, not against it. Be consistent, flexible, and in this term, it's not about flexible movements, it's about flexible with your time. Stuff happens, as he said. I like this one. Keep walking shoes in your car in case an appointment is canceled and you can find yourself unexpected free time. Your core, we talked about what the core is, the center of gravity. Uh, Make it part of your daily routine. Invest in a good pair of shoes. If walking is painful, you're not going to do it. Walk your dog whether you have one or not. So Sharon, you still have a dog.
Oh yeah, but those aren't good walks really, because they stop and they sniff and they
But for somebody who's not mobile at all, it gets them out the door.
something. Yeah, it does.
And then finally, collaborate with your doctor. Okay, I think I'm going to stop there. Any thoughts, any questions? So, again, those resources are there for you in week 3. I'm going to be redoing week 4. I think I'm not so satisfied with what I have on the syllabus, but within the next couple days, I'll have those resources for you. So, what I want to end with, since it's 8:10 right now, is the body scan, which then I will post either later tonight or early tomorrow. Yes, Carl, before we go.
Inside the week 3, you had
Okay.
you had a quiz, and you wrote in the stream that we should finish it before, but then I got confused and came in and finished quiz 1. So that was like it was a bit confusing which test we are supposed to finish by today.
Oh, well, quiz 2. So there'll be a quiz every week. Try to do it before class. I'll
It
try to
says
get
it
up
says
earlier.
no due date on it,
No due date. I didn't put a due date.
right?
Okay.
Also, the quiz looks like going through the materials that you're going through. So I wonder whether we should take a quiz on the materials that you're going to present,
Well,
or
that's the idea, but I need to get the quiz to you earlier.
yeah,
Okay. But the
because
idea,
we also had in week 2 we had a quiz that was due. Sorry, there was another one.
yeah, actually the numbers are a little confusing here. Maybe I should change it. Week 2 was quiz 1 because we didn't have a quiz the first week.
Yeah, okay.
I could have done that. Okay. These are short answer. And we'll go ahead and try it, Carl. And Etheloma, I don't know if you saw the quiz or not. By the
Well,
way,
I thought it was due next week though,
Yeah, me too.
in week
Also,
3.
yeah.
So I didn't look ahead. I actually did week 2's and went back. I went back and looked back at week 1's information. I didn't go ahead to week 3.
oh, okay. Well,
I
this is
went back and reviewed in my spare time. I
that's
went
right.
back to 1.
That's fine. I'm happy for you to review.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, and did you find the video, Etheloma, that you said you couldn't find? I know
I did. Yes, sir. I did. Yes, I did. Yeah,
okay.
thank you.
Okay, good. All right, so any more questions then? If not, I'd like
Oh,
to.
how did everybody get into Zoom? How did the students, how did y'all get in there? Where
Oh,
did you
but
go to get into this meeting today?
I keep, I
I went,
So I had the same problem last week, and what we are supposed to be part of a WhatsApp group, and that group sent Scott, who is our Zoom manager, sent a link. So that's how I got into it.
but I had to originally go back to my original email
Yeah.
and get
so,
that Zoom link. Is that what y'all had to do, Sharon? How did you get in?
Oh,
well,
I have taped up here on my computer meeting ID number and passcode number. So I always have that available. So I just do a search for Zoom. I just get on the Zoom website and
Okay.
at a point it asks for the
That's pretty
meeting ID
smart. Maybe
number
I
and then
should write
asks for
that
the passcode.
information down too, because yeah, I had to get all that out of
okay,
my email,
wait
my
a minute.
original email.
Does everybody see the same screen I do that I'm sharing?
Yes, sir.
So
I see it.
if you go to stream,
Okay.
way down the bottom of stream, is the Zoom meeting launch or this link. And
Oh,
the
there you go.
passcode is 2025. So go to
Okay.
stream.
See where I was trying to get in, where I said
Let me bring
hello
it
at
this way.
7:04,
Yeah, so stream is where you
bring
want
it
to
all
find
the
it.
way down to the bottom. Thank
Yeah,
you.
Yeah,
Thank
there
you
you
for
go.
that.
That'll get us there.
yeah, because this is of course a whole stream of messages, but the first one, I think, Scott, you must have put this in. Uh,
Oh yeah, there's another one where I was saying I can't get into the class. Yeah.
okay.
I would say it's useful to figure out a way to automate it to put the latest, I mean, every week before the class, let it go into the stream half an hour before. It comes in the WhatsApp group, but it would be useful if it was in the stream on the top because the stream is organized chronologically, right? So
Oh, okay. So Scott, would you be able to do that?
Yes.
Okay. So maybe a half hour or so before the class or an hour before the class, just put that in so it's the top of the stream. Okay.
Thank you.
And look in stream.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so anything else? If not, I'd like to go through the body scan with you and then I will post that. It's a little different. Last week we did another similar but different called progressive muscle relaxation. And again, both text and recorded versions of all these things will be um, in the meditations folder. So come down to your back. It's like a relaxation pose, so I'm not going to be working you. Start out with just awareness of your breath. Then bring your awareness to your feet, soles of your feet from your heels, both feet at the same time. Balls of your feet, and just notice whatever sensations you feel or a lack of sensations if there's nothing special. Sort of scanning the bottoms of your feet. And bring your awareness to the large toe in each foot and just aware of whatever sensations or lack of sensations you find there. And just keep moving. Move on to the second toes on each foot. Then the middle toes. The fourth toe on each foot. Again, just whatever you feel there, even if you don't feel much of anything. And finally, the small toes on each foot. And slowly bring your awareness as if it's like a scanner, slowly scanning the tops of your feet and your ankles, and the Achilles heel. And what sensations you find there. And slowly from the ankles on up to your shins and calves, slowly working from the heels slowly up. Just noticing what you sense. And finally bringing your awareness to your knees. The kneecap on the outside of your knee, just below the kneecap, center of your knees, and the backs of your knees. What do you feel here? Just noticing, again, this non-judgmental awareness. We're just accepting whatever sensations are there. Just experiencing them, inhabiting them, and then moving on, coming up your thighs and calves, the center of your thighs, the femur. I didn't talk about the long bone. Slowly from the knees, working on up. As you come up the thigh to the top of the femur where that ball is that comes into the hip or the ilium, the socket. What sensations do you feel right there, deep in the hip? In the lower back, remember the sternum that forms the back of the hips and the pelvic bowl. Again, can be a sensitive part of your body, but just whatever non-judgmental awareness, what you find here. Just slowly coming up, fully inhabiting pelvic bowl. Then from the pelvic bowl on up to your belly, around the navel area and the lower back behind the navel, lumbar spine. Take some deep breaths, slow, gentle, deep breaths into the belly and just inhabit whatever sensations you feel or you find. And from there, come on up to the thoracic spine, mid back, and the ribs, chest, and lungs, shoulder blades. Again, whatever sensations you feel here. And slow, deep breaths through the chest and out. Lying real still, see if you can sense the breath going into your lungs and out. Now, lying real still, see if you can sense the beating of your own heart. Might take a little bit, but just again, non-judgmental awareness. If you don't sense anything, that's okay, but be open to sensing the beating of your own heart. Bring your awareness up your shoulders and down your arms to your hands, the palms of your hands, and whatever sensations you feel there. And then your thumbs. The index fingers. The middle fingers. And your ring fingers. Again, slowly scanning, inhabiting whatever sensations you feel as you move on to your pinkies. And then the backs of your hands. And then to your wrists. Your wrist on up to your forearms. Slowly moving from the wrist up to forearms. Again, embracing whatever sensations you find, whatever they are, non-judgmental awareness to your elbows, the sensations you feel there. And slowly moving your awareness up your upper arms, biceps, triceps, front and back of the arms, center of the arms, the arm bone or humerus. On up to that shoulder joint we talked about, that shallow ball and socket joint. From there, let your awareness spread out to your shoulder blades. Remember that whole shoulder girdle, and including the ball and socket joint, the shoulder blades, and the connected to the collarbone. Again, whatever sensations you're feeling through the shoulder girdle. Then the awareness up to your throat, sides and back of your neck. And giving your full awareness to whatever sensations you're feeling in the throat and the sides and back of your neck. And bring your awareness up to your jaw, your lips, chin, and the jaw going all the way back to the ears. Into your nose, your cheeks and your eyes, the eye sockets, both the eyes and what you might feel behind your eyes. Again, slowly scanning onto the eyebrows and your forehead. And back to your temples and your ears, sides of your head. In the back of your head, or it might be resting on the floor, or whatever you're lying on. Finally, to the top of your head. Imagine breathing in through the top of your head like the blowhole of a whale and letting that breath go all the way down your body, throughout your arms and fingertips, down the spine and legs to your toes. And the exhale coming back out from the extremities, on out through the top of your head. Just lie here on the rhythm of that breath. If you like, you can imagine each in-breath purifying the body and then letting go. Allow yourself to feel a sense of stillness, body at peace, your mind at peace. Your mind wanders just for another minute. Bring it back to the rhythm of your breath and the sense of stillness, sense of deep inner peace. Perhaps a sense of love, universal love. And let's slowly bring our awareness back from the top of the head, back to the back of the head and the sides of your head, temples and your ears, and back to your face, the forehead, eyebrows, eyes, nose and cheeks, lips, chin, mouth and teeth, and your jaw. Let yourself smile and bring your awareness back to your neck, throat, sides of the back of your neck. Maybe just gently rock the head back and forth as you bring your awareness back to that shoulder girdle, collarbone or clavicles, and then shoulder blades and shoulder joint, and then down the arms to the elbows, elbows down, the forearms to wrists and hands, and just move each finger, slowly move the arms, and then take a deep breath, expanding the chest into the belly, all the way down into the pelvic bowl, and let your awareness spread to the sacrum in the back and the hips and down the ball and socket joint to your legs, your upper thighs, to your knees. And from the knees, the awareness comes down to your ankles and heels, and finally out your tops and bottoms of your feet, to your toes. Move the toes, move the legs, move the arms. Gradually just kind of wake your body back up. And when you're ready, bring your knees to your chest and roll over to one side and just stay there for a moment in like a fetal position, as if you're just a small child once again. And as you're ready, pushing yourself into a seated position if you're not already in a seated position. That was the body scan. It occupies a major part, in fact, the first 4 weeks of the mindfulness-based stress reduction clinic that originated UMass Boston with Dr. John Kabat-Zinn. He puts a lot of stock into that. And again, it brings your awareness into the body. The mindfulness-based stress reduction clinic was originally designed for people with chronic pain as a way to manage that, but it's been used for anxiety, depression, PTSD, and many places around the world. It's grown a lot in its 40 years, and the body scan is a major part of that. So I will post a recording and text of the body scan, and that'll be it. Hopefully in the next few days I'll have a written assignment based on what we did tonight in week 3, and then a little more timely posting the material for week 4 and the quiz. Any thoughts before we go? If not, it is 8:32, and I wish you all a very good week. And send me messages through the I can stop sharing. Let me stop sharing. Send me messages through the I guess message board on the Google Classroom. And otherwise, again, have a great week, and we'll see you. And I guess we can stop the recording, Scott.